Hello, lovely friend. I am Dr. Mary Barson.
And I'm Dr. Lucy Burns.
We are doctors
and weight management and metabolic health experts.
And this is the Real Health and Weight Loss Podcast. Hello, my lovely friend. Welcome to this podcast. Dr. Mary here, and joined by my beautiful, very smart, very fabulous colleague, Dr. Lucy Burns, on this very special podcast episode. Lucy, what are we celebrating? I just can't quite believe it. It seems strange.
I know. It does sound strange, but we're celebrating our 5th year of podcasting. So the 11th of November 2020 was our very first podcast episode. And obviously it's, around about the 11th of November, give or take, 2025.
5 years.
5 years, I know. 5 years can either seem like an eternity ago or like, it happened last week. Time is so interesting, isn't it? Like if we think back 5 years ago, you didn't have a baby who's not a baby anymore.
Not a baby anymore.
No, Max wasn't even nothing. He was not, it was no matter in the universe. You didn't have your dog, Shadow.
No, didn't, bless her. No, I did not. Yeah. And you had a house full of children?
Yeah, I still had a child at high school, one child just doing her second year of uni. Currently, right at this minute, all two of them, but all the children, but more importantly, all the pets have left home.
Far out.
So 5 years ago, I had 2 children, 4 dogs, 4 cats, the bearded dragon, 3 frogs, 4 horses, a goat, and a cow. Now at the moment we have one miniature cow and 1 goat, and that's it. So it's bizarre.
Yeah. And look, humble brag time. Here we are 5 years later. We've got this top-ranking podcast in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide. We've managed to keep it going for 5 years, I think, keep it interesting. It is a really, really, hopefully keep it interesting. It is a great landmark to celebrate and to reflect on. And so today in this podcast, we're going to be reflecting on the last 5 years and thinking about what have we learnt in the last 5 years. And have come a long way. I think that obviously we've learnt a lot. The world has changed a fair bit too, and things are different. Think back to those early days, and our listeners can do this if they listen to, episodes, 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 onwards. We were really in low carb world, weren't we? We were very strongly in low carb. We thought that low carb, and even to an extent a ketogenic diet, was the solution. And that's where we started. Yeah.
So I guess, I actually even think, so I was running and you were running clinics, like in-person clinics, and my original clinic was called Epiphany Medical Weight Loss, because I thought low carb was like the epiphany. Oh my God, the holy grail. And look, to be fair, it was for me, it felt like that, because for the first time, eating a low carbohydrate diet meant that I wasn't hungry, that I could still lose weight, so therefore I thought, oh my God, this is like a miracle. All I need to do, so my brand translated, all I need to do is tell everybody about this and we will solve the world obesity problem.
You can't unsee what you've seen, though. That was your epiphany. That's right.
Yeah, that was my epiphany. So I thought that was that. So yeah, I was pretty sure that was true.
Oh, my clinic that I was running, my weight loss clinic that I was running back then, it was full of those aha moments and those fabulous success stories, which are still really valid today. People whose diabetes went down. I remember this one guy, he was a health professional, and his HbA1c went from 11, which is really high, very poorly controlled diabetes, down to 5.5 in just 12 weeks. Like, it was amazing. I was seeing these changes and I was so fired up. And I still am fired up. I am still loving it. It's just that I've learned a lot more since then. And I have learned that nutrition isn't everything. The food isn't everything, but still so fun fatty liver going away, people losing weight, reversing diabetes, polycystic ovarian syndrome symptoms, going into remission, just amazing, wonderful, fun things, helping people with their diet, eating low carb, real food. It was amazing. It was amazing. But as time went on, we learnt that it really wasn't everything, was it?
No. Well, no. So we first of all went, oh, okay, yes, right. There are some people that can't do the low carb. They, to use a diet term, fall off the wagon. How can we help them? So that's when we went, okay, we'll learn all about coaching. We'll harness our previous knowledge in mental health and psychological and behavior therapy, and we'll help them with. So that was good.
We'll do hypnosis.
We learned hypnosis. We learned, like dozens and dozens of skills around behavior change. And that is still, I think, the cornerstone of the way we help people.
So we were doing this in our clinics before we met. We were both low-carb doctors. We had both learnt about mindset. We had both gone and done medical hypnosis with the same hypnosis course, with the same hypnosis mentor, but separately. And we were doing this in our booked out weight loss clinics as GPs. And then we met one day at a low-carb medical conference.
Exactly. We met and it was like chemistry. So, and it was good because we were, chatting about the issues, I guess, with the one-to-one model where you're seeing, people individually, we're saying the same thing over and over. And so, yes, that's when Real Life Medicine formed. I rebranded. I got rid of Epiphany Medical Weight Loss, and we just became Real Life Medicine. So that was great. And, forming our programs, the 12-week Mind Body Rebalance, initially called the Spring Reboot. So again, iterations, refining, constantly refining what we've learnt over the time. And I think the key, and this is the key actually for a life lesson, is that you have to adapt. So you do something, you do what you think is the right thing, and then you measure the experience and then adapt whatever it is that you're doing based on your experience, if that makes sense. So you can't just keep beating a drum because you started beating that drum. And for a lot of people who are listening, if you've gone back and listened to the start of our podcasts, you will see that we were pretty much in Camp Keto. We really believed that ketogenic diet was the absolute way to reduce insulin, open your woodshed, and, that's the only way. We're still happy to support people with a ketogenic diet. I still like being in ketosis myself, but there are, to use a phrase that is a very Australian phrase, there is more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, there is. That's right. We've broadened, our outlook based on data, based on what we were learning, based on what we were seeing. And so now we know that you don't necessarily need to be in nutritional ketosis, but the low carbohydrate diet that prioritizes protein is still key to metabolic health. And metabolic health is still key to good health, to weight loss, to longevity, to energy, to all the things that we want. But we broadened the lens even more because food is not the only important part of metabolic health. We also focus on gut health and on stress management and our circadian rhythms, getting our sleep as good as it possibly can be. Intermittent fasting is a really useful and powerful tool. And so in our programs and in our membership, these are the pillars that we keep coming back to. And we have learned all of these different ways to help people support their metabolic health. And again, that has changed over time with learning and refinement, with measuring. And we learn so much from our beautiful members that we have evolved, and we do continue to evolve. And I hope that we will always continue to evolve. We need to evolve as knowledge changes. We need to evolve as new information comes to light. We need to evolve so that we can just continue to be better and better.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of my biggest learnings in the last 5 years is the understanding around diet culture, and that I hadn't realised what a victim I was of diet culture, what a victim of women in my cohort and age cohort, and particularly older even. and again, the initial counting of macros and following a strict ketogenic diet can be part of the diet culture issue, and that the whole guilt virtual cycle that comes around perfectionism of dieting. So, I think we now focus a lot on our favorite mantra, one of our favorite 100 mantras, which is to be a hottie, to be a hottie and be healthy on the inside rather than being thin. So you do not need to be thin to be healthy. And in fact, many people who are thin aren't necessarily healthy, but that's the lens through which society views people's bodies, is all about being thin or lean. But actually we know that health is so much more than that, and that having particularly some subcutaneous fat on your body, you might not like it, but that's a construct of society. That's not about health.
Yes. And that we really are health first, and weight loss can come along as a happy side effect. But what we want for everyone is to be a hottie, to be healthy on the inside. You're a hottie, I'm a hottie. We want everyone to be hotties.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we've certainly learnt about that. And so that, to me, again, I think one of the other things I didn't realize going into this was the kind of minefield, which I know is like a colloquialism, but the minefield of weight loss. Like, I hadn't actually understood diet culture at all. I hadn't understood the concept that women have really been shamed for so long around the size of their body. I hadn't recognized that there are people who, have disordered eating and eating disorders who can get swept up in trying to be healthy, but actually mixed up with trying to be thin. Like, it's all tied up into it, that I had completely underappreciated, which is okay, because again, you don't know what you don't know. But I think what we need to do is be humble in that idea and recognize that you don't know everything. So we want to be open-minded, not so open that your brains fall out, but open-minded enough to be open to other ideas and then be able to analyze them critically without, and again, it's impossible to say without bias, because everybody has a bias. I don't think that it is human to not have any bias, but to recognize that you have bias and then go, okay.
Try and be aware of it. I think probably one of my biggest learnings, like an unknown that has opened up for me over the last few years, is the role that trauma plays in weight gain, and that weight gain and obesity, to use that rather loaded medical term, it can be a trauma response, and that helping people safely unravel that is an important part of their health puzzle. I think that is not something that I recognized initially. I thought that, people emotionally eat, sure. People have problems with sugar addiction. People need a bit of help cultivating the grit and balance with self-compassion. But the psychological layers can actually go quite deep, and that, it's been a beautiful privilege to see this and to help people unpack that for themselves.
Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, completely. Yes, and this is the whole thing. When you see that you're missing a piece of the puzzle or missing a skill set, that it is important, I think, to either go and get yourself educated around it, or refer off to someone else who has more education on it or more skills on it, or bring somebody into your team if you're a clinic or something like that who can help people. Because I think that the mantra still of eat less and move more, physiologically it's way more complicated than that, but B, if you just keep telling people to do that and they can't do it because of their trauma, because they don't understand why their brain works the way they do, or because of their neurodiversity, which is another thing we learnt about.
Totally.
Then all you're doing is disempowering them and making them feel worse than ever.
Yes. Yep. And I think that we have really moved away from dogma. Not that we necessarily were extremely dogmatic to begin with, but we did start this little journey, you know, in our little, you know, embryonic little kernel of keto. That's where we started. And we've grown and changed since then. And our views have softened with time because in face of the data that we've been presented with. And we really actually like to reject dogma. If people are absolutely certain that their particular weight loss, approach is going to suit everyone all of the time, you've got to be aware, be wary of that and replace certainty with curiosity. Be open-minded, be humble. That's extremely important, and be willing to learn from people, to learn from experts, to learn. So, yeah, I think that I have gained, more skills in being flexible and more skills in critical thinking, I think, over the last 5 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would like to think, and again, we're middle of the road, which I know doesn't get you hundreds of thousands of streamers on YouTube or millions of followers on Instagram, hence our measly following. But thank you, grateful to all of you who follow us.
Please keep following
grateful.
us.
But I think that another thing I've learned, so when we came in, again, we were very much lifestyle, everything's lifestyle, and again, eyes opened to some of the marketing and predatory tactics that Big Pharma have employed, some of the ways they've manipulated various guidelines. Again, having your eyes open to that is like, oh my God. And so the temptation is to diss all pharma because, clearly they're just money-making moguls who don't care about people. And look, that may be true, but I think we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There have been many things within the pharmaceutical industry that have revolutionized people's lives, that have helped cure them of conditions, that have helped manage conditions so they can stay living. And so we want to, again, using the critical eye, work out, well, within this pharmaceutical juggernaut, are there anything in there that could be useful? And so again, for us, weight loss medications or the GLP-1s, and again, I actually think that I use this term a lot, but I often think I'm actually being a bit reductionist in the weight loss medication because it's not just about weight loss. They can be really helpful for people for their entire metabolic management. But we have been able to look at these medications with both the open but skeptical hats on and recognize that the data that the pharmaceutical companies have presented is not entirely accurate. But by the same token, I don't think the media hype around the dangers of them is entirely accurate either. And I think what we need to do is judicious use.
Treat them with respect and in a very individualized way. And always with the absolute best lifestyle changes and lifestyle management that you can do, because that is going to help you in a plethora of ways, as well as help people be on the lowest effective dose, which is what we would always want. When we started off, the first weight loss medication that was around was Saxenda, and that was underwhelming. It was very easy to ignore because it just wasn't all that good. But, the landscape has changed and we have had to change with it, and that's a good thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in the same camp as, Big Pharma, of course, is Big Food. And sometimes Big Food and Big Pharma are actually the same people, which is also disconcerting. So the marketing machine of big food companies is massive, like so unbelievably massive that I don't think people can really comprehend how potentially predatory they are. And so I am still very, very skeptical of the marketing around GLP-1s. But having said that, I have also seen the benefits for some people in their use. And so, yeah, they definitely have a place. But again, it's not just Big Pharma. There's big telehealth, whatever we want to call that, big tech bro, big something, big venture capital platforms that it's not, and they're not just exploiting GLP-1s as a use. There's big companies that have now got, medical marijuana all sewn up where you can just get online and it's all delivered. You can't actually stop it.
It's hard to stop. Yes. I've seen that with patients. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't even want it. It still just arrives. So there's a whole heap of unregulated and unscrupulous practice. And I guess, you and I, hopefully, Maz, just keep what we like to think is, ethical hats on and just keep delivering what we think is good quality medicine. It may not meet the efficiency standards that some of these venture capital companies do, but I don't think that medicine should be reduced to efficiencies.
No, and sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. And I think that slow medicine is good medicine. So my reflections looking back over the last 5 years of podcasting and the last, 5.5 years of real life medicine with you, beautiful Dr. Listy, is I'm proud. I am, proud and humble. I am proud of the beautiful community that we've created. I am proud of our momentum inner circle membership. I'm proud of our 12-week mind body rebalance. I love the people that we get to meet who do these programs. I can reflect that I've become, more skilled at public speaking, at coaching, at even more skilled at critical thinking. And I've got lots of gratitude to all our beautiful listeners and to all of our supporters out there.
Yeah, I think so. Me too. I am extremely grateful for people that share our content. If you feel like popping in a little podcast review, this would be a great episode to do so.
Oh, we'd love a podcast review. Yes.
Yes, that would be good. So I'm always really, really grateful for that. I think that, I'm grateful for you, Maz. There's no way. I don't think there's any way that we could do this in a singular capacity. Like, it is a lot of work. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I know people, I'm assuming people know that there is a lot of work. But it's also, medicine is a place where we hold a lot of emotions, a lot of people's emotions. We hold a lot of distress for people. We hold a lot of responsibility. And to be able to share that with somebody like you, Maz, is just so wonderful for me, because when you have co-responsibility, you need absolute trust in your partner. And I think we both have that mutual trust. So, that makes it great.
Oh, absolutely. Likewise. I have that trust in you, and I'm also grateful for your drive. This podcast was your idea, and, you spearheaded it and I just sort of hopped on for the ride, and I'm so glad I did. It's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Yep.
It has.
Yeah. So what's next, do you think? What will the next 5 years look like for real life medicine?
Well, again, we've just been tossing up, and we'll have a think about it over the next couple of weeks about, I think, always refining. Like, it's always around, what do we do? If you speak to a business coach or a business guru, their big thing is, rinse and repeat. Do it once and just keep repeating the same old thing. And I see merit in that, but I think you also need to evolve all the time. If you're not evolving, then you're just, delivering stale information. So, we might do a little glow up for some of our programs for 2026. So, that's a little whisper. Might be some changes afoot. So, which again is all about being able to deliver what people need that's, contemporary to 2025. And things have changed from 2020 to 2025.
It is good, yes.
You and I have learnt a lot more around insulin resistance. It's not just the food. Again, our programs reflect that, of course. But, I think there's probably some refining that we could do to be able to deliver information in a way that is also helpful for people that are, we also know there's time poverty. Time poverty is a huge issue. And again, for us, when we started this business in COVID, and I mean, that's a whole story in itself, because everyone said, oh, you can't, just wait till COVID's finished.
Well,
COVID's finished. Can you imagine? Yeah. And nobody, anticipated all the lockdowns and all of those things. But what that meant was that people had time to really consume an in-depth, really thorough program, which we think particularly our 12-week mind-body rebalance is. It's really in depth. But maybe we just need to look and go, well, let's, again, information overload is a big problem for people. So we just need to simplify things and make it easy. I mean, the whole thing is make the right thing easy.
A bit of streamlining.
Yeah, streamlining, make the right thing easy. That's what we want to do. Just make it easy. So I love that. So my word for the next 5 years is going to be easy.
Easy. I love that. I love it. I'm going to keep learning, keep questioning, keep being kind to myself. So I think my word for the next 5 years might be curious.
Yeah, good. I love that. We're going to make it easy. We're going to keep curious and, keep doing what we're doing. Here's this little niggle that I have, and I've got it's so interesting. Again, this is a perfect example of human psychology. So we're at the end of we've just hit our 5-year anniversary, and in my brain, I wanted to have had 1 million downloads. I suspect, unless something has happened radically in the preceding few weeks, we're going to fall a bit short of that target. And so there's this little kernel of disappointment in my mind. And I think it's really interesting to reflect on that, isn't it? Because, it's a random number. It really means nothing. Like when you objectify it, it means nothing other than the fact that it's a number. And my brain's going, 5 years. So it wants to focus on the bit that we haven't achieved. Like it really wants to go there. And I really have to pull it back and go, that's not important. Like it's just a number. It's a constraint. It's a artificial constraint. Some random person, you've just invented it. Like it really means nothing. But it is interesting to note.
Yes, and being aware of our human psychology is really interesting. And I hope that you can focus on all the fabulous things that this podcast has achieved, even if we have fallen slightly short of that particular milestone this time.
Indeed. Well, I guess, the reframe being, okay, well, we get to celebrate twice. Once now for 5 years, and then in I don't think it'll be very long, maybe a few months, we'll be celebrating the 1 million downloads.
Excellent. Stay tuned for that one. Gorgeous people.
Stay tuned. Indeed, my lovely friends. So again, celebrating your milestones, it is important. It's important to, look back. What's your thing? Measure backwards?
Yep. Measure backwards. Look how far you've come rather than how far you have to go, because how far you've come is going to be a much better measure of your ability to keep going than being daunted by how far the goal is ahead of you.
Absolutely. And again, if you wanted to use the 1 million, if we'd started and we said, well, we want to get 1 million downloads, you'd be going, oh God, right, well, we've got 1,000. Oh, we've got 1,012. We've got 1,972. Oh, well, and now I don't know what we're at, like something like 973,000 or something like that. It's close. So yeah, it is important to reflect for success as well, so that you can, reflect back, change, alter, modify if you need to. But if it's not broken, don't fiddle. But if there's something that's not working for you, then be adaptable, be open.
Be curious.
Be humble.
Yes.
Be kind.
Yes, be kind. And thank you to our beautiful listeners for joining us on this wonderful journey. It could not have done it without you. And we are so grateful and humbled that you have come along with us.
Indeed. All right, friends, we will see you next week. Take good care of yourselves. The information shared on the Real Health and Weight Loss podcast, including show notes and links, provides general information only. It is not a substitute, nor is it intended to provide individualized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment, nor can it be construed as such. Please consult your doctor for any medical concerns.